Everybody's here. All right, we'll open the Ordinance Committee meeting this evening. The regularly scheduled one begins with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No adjustments to the agenda rate party. Public to speak on a non-agenda item. Linda is actually here to speak on an agenda item, so we will allow her the opportunity during that agenda item if everyone's good with that. And we're going to review the minutes of October 16th, regular meeting minutes. Okay. A motion by Val, second by Nancy. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is unanimous. I don't see any correspondence. Perfect. We don't have any, and right to continuing business. Sign ordinance. So do we want to offer the floor to the public first? Just to get her feedback, and then we can get into the working. Sure. Everybody comfortable with that? Fantastic.
Yeah.
Linda, I'm gonna give you the floor.
Okay, well, at the last meeting, I had sent a letter to you all, letting you know what needed to be included in the ordinance for signs in order to get dark sky certification. And then you had a couple of questions, and one was the 100 nits measured conditions of a full light display. And actually, I got an email from the dark sky. I didn't get everything answered as clearly as I would have liked, because they just responded to me this week. They were at a worldwide dark sky conference for a while, and I think they were just gone. So anyway, what I got back was I asked them about the nits, and that, okay, the question was, you know, what exactly did it mean as far as a full white display? And is any white space on a sign required to be 100 nits or less? Or is it referring to like a white background or whatever? And he said, the measurement of the sign lumens is to be on the white areas of the sign. If they are 100 nits or less, then all non-white areas will be a lower lumens. So just the white spaces. So if you have like a white space within a logo or something like that, that white space in
Or
the
the
logo.
letters or whatever it was white, because it said the background couldn't be white, they said the background.
Yeah, no, the background would, you know, you wouldn't want that anyway.
Okay,
But yeah, any little white pieces that are part of lettering or logos or whatnot can't be more than 100 nits,
okay,
is what that means. And he said it actually, a 100 nit sign would not really stand out in a brightly lit area, but it's quite visible in a dark area at night. And one that doesn't have a whole lot of bright lights shining around it, which you're not supposed to have the dark sky anyway. And he said, you know, as far as the surrounding light, he said, think about a first order moon or a third order moon. The light from that would be the background light where you could see 100 nits pretty easily. Yeah. So Anyway, however, the measured brightness is the same during the day time as night, and that I don't.
No, because there's no point in not,
Well, I guess,
It can't be, that's an impossible,
can't be.
it's an
Yeah, see,
impossible standard to meet because you wouldn't be able to see it in full sunlight.
well, let's see,
they don't, it's dark skies, what do they care
Well,
about daytime?
and it says between sunset and sunrise.
yeah,
Yes,
Luminance levels for operation between
Right.
sunset and sunrise shall not exceed
yeah,
100
see,
units.
some of the stuff, and I wasn't able to get them on the phone. Because sometimes I don't quite, emails, you just,
not clear.
you want a little more and you don't get it, so. Anyway, he was very pleased with us for wanting to put this in, and I sent him a copy of the signed ordinance, the last version we had. So, anyway, they want to look at that, I told them I wanted them to tell me if that's gonna include, if that'll pass, basically. So, anyway, that's that, and I also did a little bit of research on what a 100-hit sign would look.
Okay.
And what I found is, actually a reference to the IMAX screen. This is from the Projection Screens Made Simple website, or from that information. And it says IMAX is calibrated to 75 nits. But uses, then it goes into Dolby lighting and all that sort of thing. But 75 nits in a pitch black theater shows up.
Right.
And I saw a number of references to a theater screen,
Okay, well,
which
that's
was
fine.
50 to 75 nits is what that film
Flushes out that.
So I thought that, well, that's kind of interesting, that's something we can relate to,
Yes.
and, so, anyway, that's kind of what I learned. And I have copies of the guidelines, the specific pieces, that paragraph F that I mentioned in the letter. I have the original pages if you want a copy of that. And I also,
I have mine.
yeah, I think I handed them out at
Yeah,
one point. So I have more copies if you need it. And then someone asked about the letter that Joe Roach wrote supporting the dark sky certification. I brought a copy of that as well. And, basically, I can read it or you can have copies.
And he's our town manager, right? Yeah,
What's that?
he's the town manager, right?
Yeah. So you want me to?
Sure.
You guys, yes.
And some folks may not have this one, Linda, so if you did have this with the.
Yeah, okay, I do.
Since you brought it up though, my quick question was, did we include this with regard to lighting fixtures in our? We
Lighting
must have done that
fixtures,
throughout the
that is
28th,
in
right?
the
Throughout the
light
38th.
ordinance.
Okay.
Well, that is in
That's all
the
within.
lighting
chapter 38.
ordinance in chapter 38.
Yeah, okay.
However, I remember being in on that.
Yeah.
That needs to get tweaked. Because there's some stuff that didn't make it in there for some reason, I'm not sure. But, deal with the planning board. on
Yeah,
that.
and for here, it's just this
But
back
here,
section, right?
it's just that section, does anyone else need a copy of section F there?
Carol, you read the bill, that one, right?
I don't know.
This thing is last.
Oh, yeah, that's someone, but you have an extra.
Oh, yeah, and actually, the truth is, all of it is pretty much in that red,
The amendment that you made, yep. I know there's the
Yeah,
language.
in the-
Just-
in the letter, yeah. But, I mean, the bottom line on this too, is that it's gonna be in there if we are going to be certified as a dark sky community.
Okay.
And that becomes the awkward question. Are we seeking dark sky certification or are we seeking dark sky, being friendly towards dark skies and doing what we can to conform to it, but maybe there may be some things that we don't necessarily think we should conform to. So I think that's one of those issues that we really have to think through. I'm sympathetic to dark skies, but first and foremost, it's our community, and I'm just gonna use an example. If we were to decide that, and I haven't seen 100, so I can't really determine, but let's say we say, 100 really isn't enough, we need to be at 150. We're trying to keep it as low as possible. Because we're dark skies friendly, we wanna be going that way, but we just don't feel that we get, so I don't wanna dump all this in, and I certainly don't wanna pull language from them wholesale. Because if they then change and we have to change, I'm not gonna tie our ordinance to someone else's doing. I don't want to tie our ordinance. I'm sympathetic to it, I think that we should work that way, but I'm just reluctant to, have someone else dictating to us what we do in our community.
Yeah, and I understand, your point, and I respect your opinion. But it's my understanding that the Board of Selectmen deliberately voted to support the Dark Sky Initiative as a certification. I don't know if you can remember, because that was a couple of years ago. I mean, this is a long process. That was my understanding, that the Board of Selectmen actually voted to support it to certification, not just, doing things that are appropriate for dark sky, but not having it firm and in the.
What difference does certification make? I'm just asking this question. Okay?
Yeah, no, that's.
Because every time about dark sky. If you would, I can see a community which hasn't gone through all the effort to get the certification, but yet they have dark skies. But they can't say, oh, dark skies compliant. It doesn't mean they're not. So that's why I'm asking, what difference does this make? Why jump through the hoops of this? What benefit is there to the community to have the actual dark skies certification or dark skies compliant?
Well, the dark sky certification gives you a status within anybody interested in dark skies.
Astronomers,
Yeah,
yeah,
the astronomers.
star watchers, those.
It's actually a tourist.
Yeah.
Attraction, and, I don't know, there's a whole tourism built around, dark sky now. And that seal of dark sky certification has meaning to a lot of people. And,
I'm so sorry, Linda, I
No,
didn't mean to interrupt you, if you want to finish that.
no, go ahead.
So I see that, the letter itself indicates that we express our support for Dark Sky Initiative. Is there stages to the initiative? Is the initiative certification? What exactly does that particular language?
Yeah, initiative is one of those words,
It's vague.
broad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I expected it to be, our initiative is to
Is to be
end
Dark
goal
Sky compliant.
is to be certified as a dark sky community. So that's the goal of the initiative. What's an initiative is a movement toward something, right?
But the desire of that was to see us reach that.
That
To
certification
be
process.
compliant. and use
Because
certification.
I'm literally working on an application. It's filling out all kinds of information. And that's the purpose. I wouldn't have to do that if we just wanted to, be friendly to dark sky, but not be certified. And it's a ton of work, I can tell you, but, so.
There must be a checklist of all the things that need.
Oh, there is, yeah.
So.
Yeah,
and-
it's a few pages long,
Right,
yeah, more than a few.
yeah,
Yeah, you have to do light surveys, I have to go around and look at all the telephone, which I've already started. The telephone poles, look at the lights, write the numbers down, submit that, take readings from the sky about how dark it is and from all over the place, and submit that, and then we have to have, submit a report, an annual report, with feedback to Dark Sky on how our numbers are we remaining Dark Sky, is this working?
Yeah.
You know, and we have to have education, programs and it's not, you know, it's not, true, you know, like, it's serious, so.
And there's a benefit at the end of all of this.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
get that certification, somewhat like, the, the roadway or a scenic
Your
byway,
scenic
that's a
byways
big
and stuff.
deal.
Yeah.
Trail town is a big deal, all these things do lend, to the, tourism factor, which is our bread and butter.
Exactly, I think the cumulative impact of these things is really made Rangeland a very popular place to a, you know, certain type of visitor, outdoor, dedicated outdoor people.
And I, to Linda's point, that we have, before the eclipse, I had people reserving in 2017, because they're the astronomers or the people who know these things. So they were contacting me, asking me, where do I sit? Am I in town? Am I out of town? You know, so I'm on board with the town, but I don't see the town lights, you know, really, in 2017, I had out of my 4 rooms, 3 people.
Yeah, some years prior to the
Yeah.
eclipse.
And they did, and I was like, they're looking now, I don't even know if I'll be open. You know, but it was one of the, so people are in the know on these, and they look for these things.
They do, they look, we are on the map,
Yes.
sure.
Yeah, can I, ask whether, neon signs are part of this, discussion with your website, or,
Well,
do they address that or what?
They address it as the, what are they called, these illuminated signs.
It's in the same category.
Yeah.
So if, in other words, if we don't allow currently neon signs, which is, another word for internally lit, signs, is that accurate?
We don't have.
We don't have external neon
No.
signs, but someone could have one in their window.
Yeah,
and it has,
yeah,
you
in
know,
the window.
inside the
Like it
window,
says
it's like
open,
an open or something.
Make it
Yeah.
sign on, make it.
You know, that's a neon sign, it doesn't have.
The ones at the bars with the color light.
Right,
Yeah.
and
Right.
those are technically, according to our current, sign ordinance, allowed,
Yes.
because
They're not out on the street.
they're not outside. So someone could have a television screen in their office or in their whatever, with a big something going on, and that's not something that's covered in our sign ordinance. I think we should.
I think it says in here that if it's with inside, it doesn't illuminate onto the neighboring properties, is what I read. You know, that if it's inside, so like if it's a big TV, you can see it from the street as you go by the place, but it's not illuminating, like your neighbors aren't seeing it, and it's not, that's what I read.
Oops, sorry. Yeah,
And that's not a concern for Dark Sky because it's not outside and, you know.
What you get is residual spillover, it's not going
Yeah,
up into the
right,
sky.
right. I mean, but that said, we also want to take into consideration what we want Main Street to look like. You know, because I think the previous ordinance didn't allow for any lighted signs, right? I mean,
The way it sits right now, it does
right
not.
now,
Right, no internally or
Sign
signs.
yeah,
but it doesn't specify whether they're inside your building or outside the building, as far as I can see.
yeah. Well, I mean, if that were to just stay as part of the ordinance, then, you know, the Dark Sky isn't even an issue. And except for light bulbs being signs, but I think that even comes under the,
I thought that was all
lighting
just under the
ordinance.
lighting.
It does come under the lighting ordinance, yeah. So, anyway. I don't know, but the electronic messaging signs is what we need to address for Dark Sky and.
And you've offered us the language that is necessary in order to be dark sky compliant.
Correct.
Fantastic. Alright, so we have those suggested as you suggested they should be put in. Yeah, under each section that you think It fits under general provisions, exempt signs, okay. So you've provided a great document to give us a thorough view of what needs to be within the text of our document.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Linda, for the work that you're doing on this. I know that it's very important. I mean, we appreciate anyone who takes the time to come in and sit through and trudge through anything like this before you got here.
Question, because I think I think one of those things that you mentioned, you were talking about was one of my questions, because it's on this page, whatever, the third section that you're talking about, the internal electronic signs, okay, the second paragraph.
Page of suggested language.
And it says, the internally illuminated portion of the sign cannot be white, cream, off-white, light tan, any light color unless it is part of the logo, okay? And light tones are not permitted in registered, only in the registered logo. So I think what I said last time was, if you gotta have a dark background and you can't have a light colored letter, how are you gonna read? You can't have dark colored letters on dark background. Nobody's gonna be able to read the sign. You need to have light letters. So that we may not like, but you know, no cream, no off-white, no tan, no yellow. It's like, what are you gonna put your color? This is
On my letter,
It's their page.
it's like, what color your letters left? Maybe
The sign.
oh, right, yeah.
You're building right across from the IGA. It's got a sign in that building. I'm not sure if that's a real estate building or whatever it is, but right now, when I went to buy it, it had an open sign. So it was like pinkish, reddish, with a green border.
Yeah.
So you could read the pinkish reddish, wasn't white, it wasn't whatever.
No, but it had like, just a border, and then it had black, and it just had the words.
Right.
But it was just a black background. I mean, it's like, that's no light. Like, you know, you just,
So that you could read the logo or the letters. So, you're saying if there's
so
more
pink,
intricate.
I'm limited to pink. You know, it's like, not yellow, not green, not tan. I gotta be in the red range, in the light blue range. I mean, it's very limiting, you know?
Yeah, and I'm trying to read it, and these are, in fact, I.
And then they
I
didn't
sent
want-
this exact document.
And then there was something
dark
they didn't
sky.
want.
And they didn't get back to me with
I would
an
say
analysis.
until we hear, I would say that what we're talking about is the background should be a dark background,
Right,
and then the lettering, if it's white, that's fine. I mean,
no,
if
this
you
says
put it-
no.
When I work on a computer screen, I oftentimes prefer a dark background with white lettering. That keeps the amount of ambient light down in your room. When you have a light colored background, that just adds.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
understand not having a white background.
Right,
You know, with some of the displays that we saw from, that could, you know,
Yeah.
they had the light background, it's like, that just really overpowers.
yeah,
But a dark background with white letters, that's what pops, and you can get away with a less of an illuminance if you have a white letter on a dark background. Because you don't have to have the contrast to make the letter stand out. So I'm not sure how they can say you can't do white letters on a dark
because
background.
it says the only parts you could use any of those light colors would be if it's part of a logo. But if just words, you know, you try to advertise what's going on, you can't use.
So this is again, Linda. The language in order to be dark sky compliant. So as we go through the ordinance, we can consider when we're dealing with exempt signs, we can look back at this language and see how it fits in our ordinance. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, that's where we'll end up finding ourselves. This conflict, you said you already sent it to them and have them looking at it. If you can get some feedback on that particular, especially that particular paragraph, because they are kind of tying your hands and leaving you with no.
It's only the logo, you can't use it for letters, words. You should be able to do words. I understand the backgrounds have to be dark.
So-
It should be able to have light colored words.
Unless anybody's opposed to that, I mean, I think this is great that she's given us this, so when we go through section 3810.5, we can look at.
Logo and words.
we can look at the suggested language from
Yep.
dark sky compliance and see how it fits into it. And then when we talk about section 3810 general provisions, we can look at the dark sky compliance language, see how it fits into.
Yeah.
And do our best to fit it in there.
Yeah.
That suits.
I guess that's what I was saying, is that
Yeah.
I
Right.
want to do that, but
Right.
I'm not sure, as I
Right.
work through
Yeah,
this.
no,
I think there's just gonna
understand.
be some issues that we're like, wow, this is gonna be,
Well, I'll get some clarification on this part, because, it says it shouldn't be more than 33% of the total sign area, but it also says that, it can only be in the logo, but,
Right,
I mean, yeah,
that's it, if the 30% is not a problem, it's just the word logo only, that's like.
Right,
Doesn't
right.
let you do anything.
yeah, I'll get them to clarify that, but they do have this document, so, but I think they just got back from their, worldwide Sky conference.
So, what I'm going to now do is call on the board to approve section 3810. One, if we could do 10-1,
that's the purpose.
it's the purpose at the top of, I figure if we hit this section at a time,
Yes, and
then it may be,
Thought we would done with most of it, because we.
we are, and I just wanna make sure that everybody has so like, to me, definitions were done, but at the last meeting, we brought something back up, so. Maybe if we can do, 3810-1 and say, yes, we're all good with that. There's not really been any change to it anyway, but if we can say that portion is. And then we move on to definitions. Because definitions did come back up.
Yeah. Now, what's we haven't read, that's what we had agreed upon.
That is correct.
And that's
Anything in red is,
It's what the lawyers were looking at, because they wanted to find out if our language addressed a specific issue that had come up, even though we don't know what that issue was, have we heard back from them on that?
I assumed since there was no feedback in the packet or in the email that it just did not. Okay. So everybody's comfortable with kind of that top, the all signs shall comply, and the purpose.
Yes.
Perfect. We aren't gonna touch that again. How's that? Ah.
Well, I didn't see that.
Okay. Definitions, and I am so sorry. What was the big one that came back up at the last meeting?
It was tenant,
Is
tenant ban.
that what it was? I thought I wrote notes. I so apologize. I should have done better.
The,
Needs to assign a name to standing flags, windless banners, and flags, is what I had for a note.
right, but the other thing was, the banner definition number 1 didn't have a size. You can put any size, there's no size.
And we were of the opinion that there needed to be a size designation in banner.
Yeah,
I wasn't aware that we were.
I wasn't either, so that's kind of any sign of lightweight.
Because when the,
Should that be
chamber
flexible
has their
fabric?
thing and they
Yes,
ask
that's what-
for promotion,
that's what it
people
is.
to pay to promote, everybody puts their banners up, they're, they have them by the tennis court, so I think you're.
Yes.
Pretty much the same size, they're all pretty much 3x6 or 3x5.
Yeah, we purchased.
So material that's not.
They're not, there's nothing that's 10x20 or, which.
Carolyn, did you have some concerns about flag? No, you had the concerns about the standing flags, right? The-
but I do have a note from
No,
last
there
week,
is something
last
you said.
month, that banner suggests sign.
The message flag has got a size, signs have a
advertising
size,
requirements.
so why not there?
I'm so sorry, could you repeat that one more
It
time?
said, banner suggests a sign restriction. I think that's what we were talking about, is a size restriction in the banner.
Right, that's what I had, a question mark.
Right, I have a question.
So does that fall under definition, or does that fall under I'm just asking this question. I mean, you know, would you put that in a definition or would you put that?
Well, we put it in the definition message flag and we put it in the definition of the sign. Or did, we didn't put it in the definition sign, but we did put it in message flag.
Oh, I see what you, okay, yeah, I just,
Well, a banner sometimes can go across the street.
Exactly.
I don't know that there needs to be a size restriction.
I don't think so either.
I
I think we're
almost,
just defining what they are.
yeah, I almost think we put ourselves in trouble and in jeopardy of folks not being able to advertise. I mean, does somebody know the size of like the chicken barbecue for the church banner or the?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Okay,
So we can take them one at a time.
I think so.
Yeah,
So I think banner's good.
okay.
Okay, flag, there was no changes. Nobody had any logo. Logo.
we thought that one, but.
Well, and I think this may be part of some of the trouble that came up recently.
Mhm.
That what? That
We didn't define it. in the-
Yeah,
we still at flag.
No, logo.
logo. No, we moved to logo, hun, because there were no changes to flag. Was everybody good with that? I'm so sorry. I thought I heard a yes. I apologize, Carolyn. Just yell if I
That's
don't.
okay.
Yeah, on logo. So logo was not previously defined. We now define it, and we're waiting to see if the attorneys are gonna be pleased with us.
That's the one the attorneys are doing.
Yes.
Because it's the one that brought up a recent issue. Somebody arguing that a logo was not part of their signage, or shouldn't be
Right.
included
It
as
should
part of the
be
square footage
excluded
of
from
it.
the square footage of the sign
Right,
because
okay.
it's communicated.
And
Right.
as the logo is not defined as being specific to your business, it's a very generic
Logo, yeah.
logo.
Well, according to what, like,
A graphic mark, emblem, or symbol used to aid and promote public identification and recognition of a business. So I like this definition one.
Yeah.
Because it defines it as recognition of your business.
Right, so you're saying I'm using a logo, that represents my business and that's, you know, that's fine. People can identify a business by its logo,
Yeah.
mhm.
you know. I mean, the Nike swoosh is a logo. It's a logo. You know,
KFC.
that's the golden arches, those are all,
So is everyone happy with the definition of logo?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
This flag was just reading.
Message flags, we just renumbered, there didn't appear to be any, everybody wanna take a second to read that, are we good with?
Yeah, that's 3 by 5 and it's.
Yeah. Good, okay. Pennant. That was another just renumbering, it was already previously defined. All right, roof signs.
We added that because we didn't have anything
Mhm.
for that.
Urban roof of the building supported by the roof structure. Okay. Okay, everybody's good with that one?
Yeah.
Sign, we added language about logos. Oh, well, no,
No,
goods
not
and
sure.
services provided,
Right.
any place fixture required.
But we deleted that are integral parts.
Yeah. Of goods to be sold and not considered signs under this section.
Oh, that-
Okay, we're including logos in the sign.
Well, this is if I read this, what it's saying is brand names and logos are the things you provide. So it's not your business, you know, you put your business out, that's a sign, it's got a logo, that's all part of your signage, but if I am now selling, you know, a certain type of fishing reel, and that company has a logo, and I put a, you know, logo in my shop window, that's not part of my signage. as
No,
far as
because it's
my
in your window, but if you put a sign out on your sign,
But I'm
then
just
it
saying,
should
that,
count.
that's what, but
That's what I think.
that's what, yeah, but it's not.
If it's
Or, no, it's not that it meets the counts, it says it's not.
It's not
sign.
considered, that's what I'm saying, so
Yes.
someone can, have, it's not their business. Their business is widgets, and then so-and-so makes a specific thing, so they have a logo for that manufacturer,
Right,
but that doesn't count in
that
the
is counted in their sign.
signage, right?
Goods and the only, yeah, it's like goods and services provided.
Right.
Right, it isn't just goods, it's goods and services, that was the main difference,
Right.
that red part.
And the current language reads, brand names and logos are not considered signs.
Right. So like Blooming Bin, when they've got different kinds of snowmobiles, all those brand
That's
things
a good
don't
example.
count
Yep.
in this group.
Right.
And they haven't in the past, so that's really not changing anything.
And we're good with that?
So someone could have a business and put all of their vendors' names all over their building as well. And that's really what,
That's what they've been currently doing.
yeah,
Yes, they do.
because there are no, nothing in here that prohibits that from happening. But right now, we're just in definitions, not in.
Well, this, you wouldn't be able to remove it because you're saying it's not considered a sign. So,
So you could do that if you wanted to, because it's not a sign.
right,
Yeah,
so if you want to change that. It is-
well, I think it's not a sign, something, if you own a business and you're putting up all of your vendors, whether it's whatever. That's not your sign, but further into the ordinance, we would be able to put a provision in there, if that's what we think should happen. That, businesses might be limited to not displaying their vendors on their building.
Or a limited
If-
number.
You
Limited
could
number
put a
of square
restriction.
footage.
Correct.
Yeah, you're absolutely good.
That's what I
Okay.
think, we just need to define.
Okay.
We're not talking about restrictions or
Not at this point.
allowances.
Okay.
Just define what it is.
Yeah, and a sign.
You got it.
I think we should probably let that one go.
Okay, sign animated. Actual motion, yeah, what do you want to motion?
Is this where we end that windless banner thing? That you mentioned? Is that
You're
what
talking
that-
about the sky dancers of.
Well, not the sky dancer, because he's animated, but that thing on a pole. Looks like feather. It says,
The coffee ones.
yeah,
I wrote down coffee.
I thought that was a pennant.
Yeah, I saw that as a.
well, pennant is being defined earlier as a little triangular,
Well,
little,
I saw that as a banner, but it's, I don't know why you.
I don't know, there was a
Banner
question
goes
of this
across-
windless banner, I don't, the point is, I don't know, that was the word you got up, and I just wanna know where it falls.
Well, see, because it says through mechanical, electrical, electronic means, so it's something, it's like if I hang a flag out and the wind blows it. I mean, I'm not, if there's no wind, it doesn't move.
Right.
And so these are an animated sign is something that has something intrinsic to it that makes it
Okay.
move.
Which
That's, you
would be
know,
the dancing man, but not the
not
coffee
the,
sign.
not the copy sign, because the
Gotcha.
copy sign doesn't have a motor in there or anything else that's making
Right.
it move. It's just if it blows in the wind, it's just like someone's flag blowing in the wind.
Okay,
It's no different. So I wouldn't
So-
see it as an animated sign.
no, sort of, if it's a windless banner, it comes under banner. Okay, so. Okay.
Is everybody comfortable with that, Nancy?
Do you want to put in here with intent to look for motion versus just motion? I mean,
I think you're getting into, you know, how do you then address intent? I mean, that's.
well, you're plugging it in and making it go.
Well, that's what it says.
But that's a mechanical, electrical piece. That's something that's driving, you have nothing that's driving it. If it's just there and it's
Yeah.
driven by wind. If there's no wind, it doesn't move. So,
Yeah,
Sign animated, everybody good with that one?
no,
We're
it's double sided.
Where we were.
I'm going over the portable sign. Why do we go from there to vehicles? It's like, wait a minute, that's. Any sense.
Sign area. We need some changes to that section, to that definition. To account for two identical sides and that not being.
Counted as a
Not being,
double.
yeah, not count size to a single sign.
yeah,
And
it
not-
it was implied last time, but it never really
With
said
that
it.
statement,
Right.
right.
Right,
We'll try to make it very clear.
everybody's good with that one?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Sign canopy was just renumbered, everybody good with that one, comfortable with that? Sign changeable.
New definition.
New definition.
And that definition, that would be a key from the state. What I think one
I think you're right on that.
Yeah, I believe so.
We. Because the change, it could be a message board, it could be manual or electronic, that's a change.
Change.
So,
Okay, so we're good with that definition. Sign consolidated, freestanding, illuminated. Externally illuminated, internally illuminated, ladder, obsolete. We've got a whole bunch that just the numbering changed.
all
Are
of sign
any,
project.
yeah, are any, does anybody want to readdress any of those with just the
Well-
numeric changes?
If we're gonna talk about internally illuminated, I mean, electronic signs. They are considered internally illuminated,
Mhm.
but they're changeable, so maybe this should, so that this should say sign internally illuminated, a sign, an unchangeable sign. Light is in, like, you know, the shell sign, you know.
Open sign? No.
No,
No,
like the
but-
shell, you know, that's lit from
The gas-
inside.
gas
the gas
station
The Citgo sign
is
is
the sign.
unchanging, but it's internally illuminated, as opposed to, because we're gonna talk about electronic, we have a definition of electronic, which are changeable and are lit, so. Otherwise, we're gonna have to fix this later, if we want, or we can fix it later, but
That's a good question.
I'll just put unchangeable in there, and unchangeable has its own subcategory when they get there.
They're both illuminated, the thing is, one is an unchangeable,
Right.
one is a, you know, changeable, and so.
We already
I
defined
think that
changeable.
we've already defined changeable, so we have a changeable sign irregardless of,
No, but this internal illuminated definition would include a changeable sign, and then you're not being clear necessarily. Because we say internal illuminated,
So which definition are you looking to?
16, number, the new 16, the sign internal illuminated, just add the word an unchangeable sign to that definition. So then, when we talk about internal illuminated, we're talking about the fixed internal illuminated, and when we talk about electronic signs, which are internal illuminated, we're talking about the changeable.
I would add up the definitions, I would keep an internal illuminated sign as it is, but then I would add a message board or fixed or whatever, because unless you want to say a fixed internally illuminated sign. you
Well, that's
know,
what I'm saying, fixed, or
But I
those
would,
are
you
unchangeable,
know,
because we got changeable, so unchangeable is the opposite, just making it very clear.
but why do we, I mean, they're both internally illuminated, what, I'm trying to think of why we're concerned, is there something down the road where we, you know, we don't,
Because when we get to the part where we're talking about it now, we're addressing it in two different sections, and this would like say, this is only gonna be defined here, we don't have to look at. Because they, you know, we didn't wanna have, and we haven't had, internally illuminated signs allowed.
right,
And if we allow electronic signs and we still call them internally illuminated, then we have to fix the definition of internally illuminated then. Because if we haven't allowed it and we're calling it internally illuminated, we can't have it say it's okay, it's, just, you know, we're not okay there, but it is okay here.
Can you give an example of what you're talking about?
Yeah, if we say that electronic signs are allowed in whatever definition restriction we do, and we consider that an internally illuminated sign, then what we have, we'll have to fix the language that says a fixed internally illuminated sign is not allowed, if we want to keep doing that, and electronic, changeable internally illuminated sign is allowed. So it's like, we're gonna have to separate it at some point.
Okay, I need an example. What would be what you're calling an internal illuminated sign that's changeable and when it's not changeable?
When it's changeable, it's like, you know,
he's talking about the message board that has the background and the letters that change, and you change.
But
the
that's an
message.
internal.
That's
That's internal illuminated sign, that's what she's saying it's internal illuminated. Then you take
Whether it
like,
moves or doesn't, it's
then you
internal.
take the Shell Citgo gas station sign, that's internal illuminated as well.
right,
We're saying, we're not gonna allow this one, we're now we're talking
Provision.
about making provisions for this one, I think that's Val's
that's
point is,
just.
we might end up
separate
creating
it
because
Sometimes,
we can calling them both the same thing, if we say, we have a blanket. I would say we leave internal
I
illuminated
don't know that
definition,
it has to be changed in the
not
definition. You
definition,
change it in the
change it
restriction.
in the restriction, you say you cannot have a fixed internally illuminated sign, but you keep the definition the same. You just
Okay,
change
fine,
your-
you just have to fix it sometimes, so, okay.
Well,
fine.
you're right, it has to be, but I think the place to address that is in
It's
the,
in the
in the
restriction.
restriction, not the
Okay.
definition.
Okay,
But I think a fixed internally lit sign is like a Franklin Savings Bank sign.
if it was
It
lit from
is,
inside,
it is.
I think it's got a light from outside, but it's internally.
I don't know. I think the IGA has a sign that's lit internally, that says
No.
gas.
No, they're lights
No, the lights.
externally lit.
Okay.
They light it.
No, not those. I thought there was a lit up sign. I could be wrong.
I think so. 'Cause I've been talking
So
for a
is
while.
there, is there a,
Six times a day.
I know.
Is
Is
there what?
there a sign that is internally lit?
That we
That
have
is
currently,
plastic?
I don't think we have any.
Not in,
I mean, all of those logos on Looney Bin probably could be turned on. Because I'm sure they are in other places, but they're not here.
Okay.
so that just takes us down.
That takes us to, well, the new 24.
Yeah.
Right? We're all at the
Did we
same
get,
spot.
so wait, okay, so where did you get to? Portable to,
All the way to 24, because up until that point, nothing changed except for the numbering.
yes.
We changed in sign temporary. We made a couple of changes there where we struck some language.
Right.
Yes, I'm okay with all that.
Nancy, Carolyn, you good with that? Perfect. Okay, oh my goodness. So everybody, general consensus is the definition section is
Good.
good. Thank you so much. Okay. Permit required, section 3810(3). Everybody wants to just read that, make sure we're good with the language. When a permit is required.
I think it's fine.
And I'll just say the reason part of the reason we had taken banners out of some of this, because otherwise, as we said, when you went to put a banner up, because of the way the old code read, you had to have a sign permit for a banner, which didn't make any sense, because the sign permit requires a site plan and the whole deal, and that was just overkill for that. That's, some people weren't here, that's why we had extracted the banners from some of that.
And the main thing is you can't, well, a sign permit's a big ugly green thing, and you don't wanna put it on the sign. File it in the office.
Okay, so everyone's good with the permit required language. Section 3810(3), that takes care of the whole section.
Yeah.
Perfect. I am writing that word as I say it. I just want everybody to know that. Okay, violations. Oh, look, a little tiny section. Woohoo!
Well, the references.
We're all good with that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing we can do there. Okay. Scott, what
I gotta go.
time did you have to leave?
I have to leave now. I apologize. I've been in the meeting. I have to be there.
Well, and here's the thing. I almost think we've come to a perfect spot because we're gonna wanna talk about integrating the dark sky language into this section that we've just hit. I hate to cut our meeting short, but
Into this part that we just did,
No, yeah,
insert it into the next part.
define what we're going to
we're
do.
getting ready to talk about section 3810(5), which is
Okay.
exempt signs, and that's the first suggestion
Ah.
that's made
Okay,
with dark sky compliance.
okay.
And I apologize, but like I said, I've got other meetings. so I have to-
Oh my goodness, no, please don't apologize. And I just wanna take general consensus if we think that this is a good kind of,
Yes.
okay,
yes.
let's put a pen in it. And that'll be where we pick up at the next meeting.
Okay. When is the next meeting?
That is gonna be the next question.
Holidays,
Either the
whatever.
4th or the 18th.
Okay, we have no new business, we're gonna go ahead and move on from there, so December 4th or the 18th. Why do I feel like the 4th is a conflict?
December 4th is okay for me.
December 4th is good for me.
I would say earlier in December is better for me, the later close I get to Christmas.
18th is still good too.
That is a busy time of year, so.
I'm good, December 4th is good. Is the fourth good for you too, Carolyn?
Yes, it is.
Fantastic, so we will go ahead and schedule for December fourth. Our next meeting, where we will pick up at exempt signs. I'm gonna put a note right now.
Maybe between now and then, I know I appreciate what you got from them, you know, the theater. We had talked at some point of maybe being able to, you said either looking at the one, I don't know what the mids are, the one down in the Avon.
I don't have a
I spoke to
measure.
the yesterday and then the town clerk sent me an email. She didn't really know what the specs are, but she did say they could adjust it.
Yeah,
But she gave me someone else's name for,
I just would kind of be nice to see, as I'm just.
That'd be really cool to go down there, and
Or,
have somebody be able to turn it down and have somebody measure it,
the
see what it
they
is.
said, well,
Yeah.
Oh, that would be very,
build us a flagpole in it. I don't know if it's
They
just
did.
covered or, you know,
it's turned off.
if it's turned off, but I'm saying, maybe there's something we could get them to.
So,
But you need a measurement, problem.
yeah.
yeah, I motion to adjourn. If anybody's ready to-
I will,
I make the motion.
second.
All of it, yeah.
Much if I stop.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm
Second by Jim. Okay, all in favor?
Uh,
Unanimous.
I don't like